The Bahamas Reef Environment Educational Foundation, BREEF, has released its new educational film titled Life on Bahamian Coral Reefs. Over the past 10 years, students from various schools on New Providence have been viewing the locally produced film at the Atlantis Resort. The film is a part of a virtual coral reef field trip.
Exposes children and students in general to coral reef conservation issues, thinking about how important coral reefs are for the Bahamas when it comes to ecosystem services like storm protection, food security, shoreline protection, and fisheries and tourism. So students come away from this experience with a really good understanding of how coral reefs are important, how humans impact coral reefs, and then also what we can do to protect them.
Minister for the Environment Ken Dorsett told students today that the film reinforces how important the environment is to our way of life and sustainability. But he says the reality is that the government is still incredibly challenged when it comes to balancing development and the protection of our environment and marine resources. He says the protection of the environment cannot be advanced without education and enforcement.
Being granted and afforded the opportunity at an early stage in your being to understand the importance of these things. And so while my parliamentary colleague spoke about you being future ambassadors, I encourage you to stand as ambassadors today to speak on behalf of the protection of our marine resources, not only to your fellow students, but to your parents.
We'll take a look at this machine. Eating machine, and just as its name suggests, it's actually crushing bulbs into that barrel, which will later be shipped to a certified bulb recycler. The $9,000 machine was acquired by the Ministry of the Environment for the proper disposal of compact fluorescent lamp bulbs. Environmental officials say the bulbs actually pose serious health risks as they contain toxins. Supplier Audley Mitchell of Vortex Power Solutions explains the hazard these bulbs pose if not properly disposed of.
Fluorescent bulbs have mercury, which is a heavy metal, which is very, very disruptive to the metabolism of the human body and other living things as well. Most of the mercury in a fluorescent bulb is in a vapor form. You crack the bulb, it gets in the atmosphere, it eventually gets into the water table, either through rain or whatever, runs off into the ocean, your fish eat it, that kind of thing. It gets into the food chain. It can cause problems from skin problems, eye problems, internal organ problems, central nervous system problems. So as you can see, it's a bit of a challenge to good health, if you please. And we have really, literally millions of them in the country. Every house has some, every hotel, every hall, the airport, whatever have you. All these facilities have them.
Now, you may recall that the government recently began issuing free CFL bulbs to low-income households. Minister of the Environment Ken Dorsett says the government is now moving to retrieve those used bulbs through a systematic collection program.
Depots will be established throughout our islands where residents can drop off their CFL bulbs to ensure that we can collect them and dispose of them properly to avoid them going into the landfill and therefore possibly causing contamination and issues for us medium term to long term.
Minister Dorsett says following discussions with potential franchise operators, a list of depots will be available sometime next year. Well, the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year Foundation has started the search for the next top primary school student. The 3-month-long nationwide search is seeking out the best and brightest primary school students in the Bahamas. A panel will review an average 180 applications, narrowing it down to finalists and an overall winner. Definitely a tough task. Well, joining us tonight to talk about the program, now into its 15th year, is President and CEO Ricardo DeVoe. Good evening to you, Mr. DeVoe.
Good evening. Please.
Now, I want to ask you first, hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships and prizes awarded every year. Has it been difficult to amass what you need to get that done?
Well, one of the good things that we have had is that we have a team of officers who go out looking and knocking on doors. And so it's been, I guess, not as a difficult task, even in this tough times, we have been able to secure funding to ensure that we recognize a group of students that I usually say who are seldom appreciated or recognized, and that's primary school students.
Now tell me a bit about the origin of this program. You started to touch on it at the end there, but why was it important for you to start a program like this?
Well, in 1996, the National Panhellenic Council, which is the governing body for fraternities and sororities, came together to establish this awards program. And first we thought about recognizing high school students, but at the time I was working at the Ministry of Education, and Senator, the Honorable Dame Ivy DeMont, was the Minister of Education. She was a former primary school principal. We also had some educators who were really focusing on primary education. They said, why don't we recognize primary school students? And that's where it took off. So in 1997, we held our first program with 31 students from all New Providence schools.
Now, Family Island students often complain about being left out of events like these and certainly other events as well. That's not the case in this program, is it?
Oh, no, Kishle, that is not the case. In fact, every year we have more Family Island nominees in our program. And so what we have done is we have started the search for the primary school student of the year 2013. All of our New Providence schools already have their applications. Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Eleuthera, their applications have already gone, and also all of the other Family Islands. So within the next week, all the islands, every school, every primary school in this country will have their application so that they can nominate an outstanding primary school student in this country.
And I just want to ask you, obviously there's a wide range of successes the students may have. Who is a good nominee for this award?
Well, first of all, everyone, I have parents who say, well, my child is an A student, and so they should be nominated. Well, we're not just looking at the A student. We want the child that is well-rounded, the child that participates in the sports, and they're active in the church and sporting groups. They're also head boys or head girls or prefects at their school. And they're community activists. So we're looking for that well-rounded child.
Thank you very much. That was Mr. Ricardo DeVoe from the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year Foundation. They've witnessed the success stories. Young men who might otherwise have turned to a life of crime are now productive citizens. And now the alumni chapter of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity is once again reaching back through its Guide Right program to empower the lives of young boys. A little over 24 male students at C.V. Bethel Senior High School will be paired with members of the Brotherhood and will engage in weekly mentoring sessions. The fraternity's polemarch Errol Bodie says the goal is to ensure the young boys succeed at every stage of their development, and it's an effort school officials are gladly welcoming.
I think we all came from a mandate and a culture previously where, the community sort of raised the kids, and we see, the displacement that's going on now. So for us, our fraternity locally, we'd like to make sure men who are successful in society reach out and mentor young boys so that they can steer a course that will make them successful later on in life.
Here at CB Bethel, what we do is, as counselors, we seek to motivate especially the young men, because we find that the majority of the behavioral issues are with the young men. And so we're just happy to have Kappa Alpha Psi working with us in this program.
Guide Right is the fraternity's international service program, which was founded in 1922 and encompasses many other youth-oriented programs like mentoring, college prep programs, and tutoring. The fraternity is looking to expand the program even further through its fundraising event, Impromptu. The evening of jazz, wine, and soul will be held tomorrow night at the British Colonial Hilton.
It's a night of music. We've selected some of the best live bands in the Bahamas to perform. We'll be featuring Tingham Them, which is Fred Ferguson's band, Ali Akoli, the Numa band, and also Philip Campbell. The funds from this year's event will really go to fund Guide Right, the mentoring program.